Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. Hi, I am Sanjeeb, and we'll quickly start with this lovely session. And hello to all the attendees, those who are joining in. So, warm welcome to all of you here. Quickly, the catalytic effect of COVID-19 has triggered major changes in the manner customers shop today. While technology has started to make way for brands that are adopting newer means of acquiring and serving their customers, e-commerce companies, retail chains, and D2C brands do not want to leave any stone unturned in this journey of ever-growing tech-enabled ecosystem. The recent launched report by Unicommerce and Wazir Advisors state that the online retail market in India is projected to touch 225 billion USD in the next 5 years, with D2C brands interestingly being the catalyst of this growth. Even though there are challenges, they're no less because of the increased complexity of operations and heightening customer experience. Companies strive hard to offer top class services while maintaining a long term ROI for their businesses. While we indulge in the interesting discussion on how consumer brands are craving their e-commerce growth story, I would like to introduce my fellow experts who are going to share their best industry knowledge with all of us today. Before that, hi, I am Sanjeeb and I take care of business at Unicommerce. And we, with us, have a very, very interesting panel. So I'll like to welcome each one of you one by one. So first we have Aakash Anand, founder and CEO of IDAM House of Brands. Hi, Aakash.
Hi Sanjeev, how are you? Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining in. The next panel member we have is Siddhartha, co-founder from Smytten.
Hi, Sanjeev. Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yes. The next panel member we have is Atul Nath, founder Mojo Box.
Hi Sanjeev, great to be here.
Yes. And last but not the least, we have Mansi Gupta, founder and CEO of Tjori.
Hi Sanjeev, this is amazing to be here.
Yeah. A warm welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for joining in for this lovely session. In this discussion by getting a perspective from all of you. My first question, Atul, if you can help me throw some knowledge on that. The question is how e-commerce brands are leveraging technology to improve their operational efficiency while offering a pleasant post-purchase experience to their customers. If you can throw some light on that, Atul.
Sure, Sanjeev. Let's begin with, I don't know about how much knowledge I can throw on it, but I can give you a perspective from where I see it. The way you've structured and framed the question, I think it's a very broad scape you've kind of planned. And since this is the beginning of the conversation, I'm pretty confident that we're going to go deeper into each of these areas. Yes. But very broadly speaking, there are 4 areas that come to my mind immediately. The first is that, there's a very good set of tools available for doing omni-channel communication and sales today, which was very, very not well integrated till not so long back. So this is allowing consumers to get a very personalized, customized experience across various channels, both offline and online. The second area is, and a lot of these things are back-end that the consumer may not ever see, but they're all working towards building a great experience. So omni-channel inventory management is a very important area where otherwise, till not so long back, it had to be run in silos, but that omni-channel is really, really good. The order management systems have developed tremendously. I'm not talking too much about payment gateways because I think a lot has already been said about payment gateways, UPI, and all the multiple options available to consumers today. And the final thing is, of course, the customer support, because one of the biggest problems with buying online used to be the fact that it was very impersonal. And customer support, because again, of its nature of having multiple tools and being able to customize the experience post-purchase, has really given a lot of traction to consumers with brands. So this, I don't know if this broadly builds, like the landscape or the scape that we can talk about and we can go forward.
No, I think fantastic inputs, and thanks, Atul. Definitely knowledge, and you have enlightened us there. I must say that. And yes, you are right that we are also going to go deeper in terms of how do we maintain this customer experience while we move forward with this conversation. So, moving on to Aakash, you on the second piece of my question, I would just like to understand from you that what are the major challenges that companies will face while building a strong tech-enabled business, because as Atul has already mentioned about OMS and omnichannel as a technology, definitely these are stuff which are new stuff coming up and people are adopting, brands are adopting it. But brands must offer a great post-purchase experience, that what also mentioned by Atul. So I want you to throw some light on that, so that this post-purchase experience to ensure customers get a great experience, and how can technology help companies create this sustainable business? That's what I think I would like to get your thoughts on.
So, an excellent question. Yeah. So to answer the first part of your question, so it's actually very important for any new business or a brand, existing brand, to choose the right platform. Especially for that tech, and the right platform depends on multiple reasons. It could be the skills of the team, the adoption of new technologies, integration with partners, financial management, and more or less the vision of the company. So if it's just a website or an app, depending on what it is. So for us, our example, when we started off earlier, we got recommended to make it on platforms such as MSec, I keep forgetting the name. But anyhow, we started our journey with Shopify just from day one. And we were lucky enough to identify the platform which is built to scale, built to last. And I think that's been fantastic for us, where we've been able to integrate various other third-party APIs, which also help further in various consumer journeys, even post-purchase. So it could be from CRM to post-purchase experiences to upsell, resell, giving you an example of a post-purchase experience or pre-purchase experience is the conversion of people from a COD to a prepaid order using something like a COD form, right? Which has given us a huge change, about 20% growth in prepaid orders from COD. Second example would be, a technology partner such as a MoEngage that helps us do great re-engagement activities with consumers. So there are various platforms, the various APIs which can be integrated, and especially, companies like yourselves who do great integration with platforms like Shopify to help the supply chain become smoother for all sorts of consumers who are placing order on a website. So yeah, picking up the right platform is very, very important. And this build to scale platform helps, integrate various APIs and get things done.
I think right platform, not only the right platform, but you also mentioned how do you pick that up? I mean, from the perspective that what team are you working with that platform, or maybe what comfort do I have with that platform? For example, this is my use case of my business, right?
Correct.
It might suit some, it might not suit some. So it's always a personalized decision, I would say. But yes, really appreciate your inputs there. So I'll quickly go to the second question of mine, and Siddhartha, I would like you to throw some light on that. So I've been observing a trend that not just retail, even this e-commerce industry has revolutionized in last 2 years, right? Companies that have been able to build a strong online presence are now going offline and opening stores. Why do you think the new age companies are also focusing on these traditional channels? And what kind of technology change will these companies need to build to offer a strong offline business? That's what would be interesting to know from you.
Oh, no, very, very interesting question, Sanjeeb. I kept in mind within the team also, people keep asking, especially the younger generation, right? And then me coming from a complete offline background in Unilever almost for a decade, up to 2015 before we started Smytten. The whole idea was get there, let the consumer experience the product, so on and so forth. And then suddenly there was a cub getting into a lion form, I would say, in the entire D2C space. And for all the right reasons, getting the launching the market, getting into the brands space, launching through the online, because it obviously offers a lot of things to the brands, right? From a lot more efficient, I would say, from a cost perspective, more importantly, it is also about speed of correcting yourself is very, very fast because you're engaging with the consumer a lot earlier. And third was a part of the efficiency itself is the entire inventory management. So when in the earlier company, when anything in the offline has to happen, just to give some sense of numbers, you need to have a minimum 20 lakh inventory to even get into a smaller market. Whereas today you can actually launch a brand with 2,000 units also in the online space. You're very, very specific to a geography and pin code.
Absolutely. That's what technology does to you, actually.
That's what technology does to you. That's what exactly has done. That's what all the D2C brands have gotten. And yeah, it also goes along with this entire younger generation who's present online all the time. I may not like it, but so that's a reality, especially with having an average age of almost around 24, 25 in office. And I keep seeing them, they're talking only about online all the time. I should be happy, but at times I'm not. Considering that, if you think of it, now when brands started the journey, online was looking so much of an area where you just want to keep scaling. And scaling, to be very honest, at some point it looked very easy. It's relatively easy, right? And this, I would say, happened all the way till 2019 or 20. Then there was something which none of us should appreciate, but the reality is all online businesses grew much faster because of COVID. So that 1.5 years, I think all of us achieved our targets. Investors are super happy, but the reality of the reason was COVID, because many people were moving towards the online side of it. And rightfully or wrongfully, people thought COVID is going to continue, and the online business will keep growing it. But the reality is offline is back, and is back very strongly. If you look at the numbers, almost around till even today, less than 15% of the total retail business is online. It's only less than 15, right? 85% is still offline business. The entire infrastructure has been set in the country that way. Now, and when brands kept growing, one monster was hitting us, which none of us realized to a great extent. And that was something which is called as CAC, right? And because all of us, I keep saying all of us, and I'm sure Atul will agree, I'm sure Mansi will agree, Aakash, we've been talking a lot about it in the past as well. Just being dependent on Facebook, Google, and other social channels, all of us are spending money to attack the same consumer. So Sanjeeb, to get you on board, all four of us would have spent close to around 2,000 rupees, right? And that's stupidity beyond a point, right? And that is one major reason I think all the brands today, after a certain scale, they know that if you don't get to offline space, and that's what I internally, and all of us know, it's O2O, right? It's not online to offline, it's offline to online. What I'm referring to here. We have to get to a space where consumers can experience your product, and also you have to have the presence everywhere around. And it is all about reducing your CAC. And many brands have actually proven it so far. And within offline, the game is slightly different. And panelists feel free to correct me, but that's what I'm understanding right now when I'm talking to so many brands. We work with more than 1,000 brands, out of which almost around 100 brands are present offline. And Aakash is doing a great job himself of being present in so many stores. And I feel proud when I see his products on the store. And I'm sure he would be so proud of himself and the team there. So, and the whole game right now is that you have to have a standalone store. Why do you need a standalone store first? See, standalone store, as I understand today, and I hope it is not something which is, I'm saying, very conflicting, but it is not a money-making machine yet. You are mainly cost neutral, but yet the standalone store is mainly required, because if you don't have it, that 85% of the infrastructure that is offline, they won't get to you, because they still believe online and offline are competitors. For you to be present in those thousands of stores across the country, whether it is modern trade or premium GT stores, you have to have those standalone stores. And then comes the entire modern trade, and then comes the entire general trade, and you actually start making money in general trade. Aakash is smiling, so he's making money. I know that there. So that is what happens. So that is the first reason I would say the CAC is what I believe is the first reason why brands are getting in that space. Second one is all about growing business. That's another avenue. None of us want to leave any avenue to grow business. Another opportunity for consumers to come and buy our products. And that's as simple because post-COVID, the reality is everybody wants to shop, everybody wants to go into the malls, and the presence there helps to grow the business. That's as simple as this. Third, not too sure all of us are using it at this moment, but very critical element is also a learning, which, as I said earlier, in online, the speed of response because of engagement with the consumer was faster. But now, if you have your own stores, you can actually talk to the consumer. And that's where the whole tech comes into it. Because Sanjeev, you also said that how tech is enabling it. It is now, the way I see it, and I know a few brands are building it, it is not going to be the regular store. It is not a store you just go in and walk in and buy the product and come out. It is what is going to be offered is the experience within the store. And then for experience to be there, it cannot happen without the tech. So, and tech could be a robotic things. Tech could be something of face recognition in our case, for example, or any in the personal care side. You walk into a store or outside those. Imagine a situation where outside the store there's a screen. You put your face in front of it, and it actually recommends that you can actually look a lot more smarter or beautiful. I should not say it, but that's a reality. So and it actually recommends you around 10 products, and it actually directs you it's inside available. Isn't that an experience you're looking for? It is not saying it is not saying you're not looking good. It is just says you can look better than what you are at this moment. And then once you walk into the store, there are different ways you can start capturing all consumer information from there on it, and goes all the way till which Atul was talking about the inventory management is so much efficient with the systems in place. Unicommerce doing a great job there, the POS systems, and also the data capturing of it. So these are the three main reasons, Sanjeev, I believe brands who have reached a certain scale will have to get into offline to grow further and to keep reducing their cost, making the business a lot more sustainable, scalable side of it. At the same time, using tech to get consumers continue to go on online, because we all know online is going to go big. As you said earlier, D2C brands are going to play a significant role as this market grows.
Yes, on that note, I think Mansi has a unique and great experience in how she moved from online first to offline, and within offline, a new way of doing stuff. I was just chatting with Mansi offline as well. So Mansi, I have a second piece of question to you. And obviously, you can add on to your own experience about as Siddharth rightly puts, it's not offline versus online or something. It's both. We should use to get our sales done, or maybe have a CAC in control. That's what it is. So Mansi, the question is, will this online first brands will be able to compete with this offline strongly present players which are already having a very strong and robust distribution network, and definitely have a stronger recall also. I'm talking from offline perspective, but how do you think this online first people, I mean, as Siddharth mentioned, the three important points, what do you think about that, and what's your take on this O2O, offline to online? Perfect.
I couldn't agree more with Siddharth on the fact that it's about the customer experience. It's about that 360-degree experience. And for me, the physical retail store has to be an extension of who we are, because for me it's very difficult to understand or to imagine us being physical retail first and then online, because we were always, like, since 2013 we were an online first brand. It was like so hard coded into our DNAs that we did not have the kind of capital to invest in physical stores and inventory, etc. And the only thing that helped us scale was being online. And yes, there are, we keep on paying Facebook and Google's like tons and tons of money every month. And but after a certain scale, yes, I agree, it is very, very important for an online brand to have a physical face to it. And then it becomes a question of a most experiential kind of a store. Like how I was really liking the way he was explaining, the moment you walk into a store, or you are standing there and there is facial recognition and all of that. It's very, for me, that I call that omni-channel, because that is like technology enabled physical retail. And this was the physical retail I've been thinking about. And if you look around, they are, whether you want to call them smart stores or technology enabled, or like manless stores, like because there's the only technology and no manpower. And I think there is a variant of which is going to be which is going to stay for the scale. and it's going to be efficient in terms of how people do business in physical retail. And it's only going to make physical retail more intelligent, more cognizant of who's walking in, and like how in an online platform or a store with technology, you're able to profile the customer, the choices, the interests, etc. And in offline, you do not have any of those information at your disposal. However, if you look at physical retail as an extension of an online store, it completely changes the game. It is the personalization is there, the physical, the only barrier that the screen creates is the physical ability of physical touch and feel and try and buy. And other than that is the experience. And the modern physical or the tech enabled physical retail is something which I strongly believe in, and I recommend, because it completely changes the game for somebody who's an online player. And it just makes us a little more intelligent about who's coming in, who's the customer. And of course, you will have walk-ins, etc., but you will be able to kind of profile them and have them into different segments, which completely all goes back to your customer database. So there is one solid repository of information for all your customers, etc. And we built an entire business model about this as to how the store would be, and what technology to be there in place, etc. And it would be very interesting for us to pitch the right kind of products to the customer who is just walking into a store, just because we have that information. So information and the storing of that information and having it in a segmented way is a huge powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool. Yeah.
Great. Mansi, I think I'm going to talk more about CAC, which Siddharth has highlighted in my discussion today. And also I'm going to talk about how this customer data can be used, and how uniquely you as brands are getting the right kind of engagement to your customers and stuff. So that's going to come in my further questions. Moving on next, I think Aakash, I've been seeing that house of brand strategy has gained momentum over the last 1 year. I think your organization, right? Amazing stuff. So firstly, congrats on that.
Thank you so much, Sanjeeb.
Okay, so with multiple brands with IDAM is handling, what kind of supply chain and operational challenges that you face ensuring the growth of all the brands? That is question number 1 to you. And second part would be, also with the multiple brands which you are adding, are you able to cross sell between one brand? So a customer who comes and purchases X brand from you, are you able to sell the Y brand as well to him? So this is what I want to know.
So thanks, Sanjeeb. To answer your first question, without sounding snobby, yes, we did have a lot of challenges when we started off. Thankfully, now I think we've captured our supply chain pretty well. Now that we have great people on board who come from extensive backgrounds from likes of Unilevers and Davas and various other organizations who've seen massive scale in terms of warehousing, supply chain, etc. But yeah, when we started off, there were a lot of challenges which new brands would face today: selecting the right warehouse, selecting the right locations to open their centers. For example, we had an issue where Bevzilla, our coffee brand, had to be in certain cold spaces or certain ambient temperature controlled spaces, whereas skincare or our mattresses could be anywhere, right? So it's each to its own. So I think once we captured that problem, I think now we are in a decent space, and I would not really have a lot of examples or challenges to throw. I think I've been one of those lucky founders who had the right team at the right time, and these problems have been taken care of well in the beginning of a journey. The second part of the question, Sanjeeb, if you could just repeat that for me again, please.
I said, what kind of supply chain and operational challenges that you face ensuring growth of all the brands together? Because different brands, as you already mentioned, that coffee business is different than say a carpet business, right? So because then you obviously need to maintain different business processes for both of the businesses, right? So how do you maintain that, and how do you find a balance?
As I said, that was challenging in the early stages, but now with the right team in place, it's not much of a challenge. We've been able to scout the right warehouses, the right locations for the right product. There have been a team sync where one person can handle 2 or 3 categories or 2 or 3 businesses, and the person specialized for food, specialized the food businesses, the person for hard goods, so our mattresses, the pillow business handles that, and the person in skincare handles our entire cosmetic perfumes and the skincare and the GNC nutrition business. So for us, that's not a challenge, but now remembering your second part is that how does the house of brands strategy enable smaller brands to upsell or cross-sell with the existing brands, correct?
Yeah, so that's very, very, that I wanted to post you because a lot of smaller brands are really, really taking interest in how do I connect with this house of brands guys and folks like that, and what value can they get, and how
I'll give you an example of this.
That.
We acquired a coffee brand called Bevzilla, which Sid is now also helping us promote a lot on his platform Smytten. When we acquired them, the brand was just about 20-25 lakh rupees a month in terms of revenue. And this is in March or April earlier this year. We just did a small integration where every consumer who was placing their order on the Bella Vita website, we started offering the coffee pack at about 30% discount at the, where the price we were selling at Amazon. So with a zero logistics cost, because Bella Vita ka to jana hi hai, with a zero logistic cost and a zero marketing cost. Today, Bella Vita's website contributes to about 75 lakhs a month to Bevzilla's sale, right? So a brand which was just 20 has increased the revenue by 75 lakhs just because of associating with another portfolio brand in the house of brands model. Similarly, we did the same with GNC. So GNC, the nutrition and the protein brand we have, we've got a great product there called our collagen, or our eyes, nails and hair, which are tablets which you can take for, or biotin. We have started clubbing the Bella Vita's under eye cream with them. And we tell people that go for both the treatments, go for topical application and you're eating your nutrition anyway. So these associations, integrations really help a smaller brand really build up with a bigger brand in the same portfolio by spending almost zero money or zero CAC. So I think such integrations do help us as a house of brands model. And we're also in talks with a lot of smaller brands who are just about 25-30 lakhs a month, where we buy a majority in the company. And the moment they come on board, within 3 months, they see a 3 to 4 times growth in their number by doing absolutely nothing. And obviously, apart from sales, the entire help in terms of logistics, warehousing, operations, finances, marketing, that all falls into place as a spoken wheel model.
I will really appreciate, Aakash, how you are able to, nicely put so much of variable stuff together and saying that, oh, this just works. I really, really appreciate the way you are managing it. Commendable.
And just to add to that, what Aakash said, and I completely agree what he's saying, I think what also helps is because Bella Vita has now become a household name to an extent in the online space. The moment he partners with any brand, there's a lot of credibility already in the brand. And I'm already seeing that on Smytten. There's already a trust being built in because he's partnering there, and yes, he's part of, there's a minimum quality assured to say so. That also builds in a lot of confidence in it. Correct. And Aakash has been too modest to say that he's lucky. I think they all have worked very hard to get the guys who they are there. Anyway, carry on, Sanjeeb.
Amazing stuff, I think. And Aakash has already mentioned that you have been helping him doing stuff. So good work there, to both of you. So Siddhartha, I'll quickly come to you with a question that this, our organization Smytten, it's a unique business model, and you work with, some of the leading brands to find the right customers and building a brand loyalty. That's what is your core, I think, right? The post-purchase experience is, I think, the topmost priority for an organization like yours. Now, the question is, how do you ensure a great shopping experience for our consumers, and how does it help your partner brand build their brand loyalty? That is one. And obviously, you mentioned earlier as well about CAC. So I would like to know that how can brands reduce the CAC and have a repeat customers coming to them? So there are 2 parts to this question.
No, sure, Sanjeeb. Yeah. First, we are into the sampling business and where we allow people, the current campaign also is sub try karo. The whole idea is that bringing their entire offline experience to, you think of a consumer offline getting into a store, when he sees something new, He wants to try that before he actually buys it. So we are kind of bringing that entire experience into the online space. So we, along with Atul and his company, trying to do that in the market itself. And we strongly believe that as we all grow, there's a huge scope in the market, and the behavior will start changing a lot more in this entire path. Now, when we are doing this, Sanjeeb, as far as when you talked about consumer experience, if you're a cricket fan, it is almost like hitting 6 sixes in an over, right? And delighting everyone on the ground. Not the right time to say when the Asia Cup is happening, Pakistan is doing it more for their members, not India, but that's fine. That's a reality. So when you're giving a consumer experience, it is not just about the post-sales experience. It is right from the point a consumer is hearing about you. So right from the crisp messaging that you do to the consumer, and especially when in the younger generation, when I strongly believe the patience levels are even lower, the message has to be a lot more crisper. When you have to be into their head, why am I adding? How am I going to add value to your life? If you can't crack it in like few seconds, you've lost them. So it all starts from there, and from there all the way to getting them to their app or site, making their entire journey almost seamless, which would also mean their entire registration has to be very, very smooth. You can't see, remember 2016-17, then probably 6 questions were asked to get into an app. Today, you dare ask anybody 6 questions, you will lose 99% of the population or the consumers. You have to predict what the consumer's name also is. Probably the time is going to come sooner than later. And so once the consumer is on the app, the entire UI has to be, again, UI has to be something which consumer should be able to understand. Again, goes back to the impatience level, but it has to be the whole experience that even Mansi was talking about in the offline space, online space. That experience holds so much because that is going to hold the consumer in. आपने अगर कोई model ऐसा बनाया which is confusing to understand, you lose the consumer again. So it's a funnel which is a leaking funnel, and you take care of every bit of it when the consumer is there. That's a third part of it. And then the entire cart, the entire selection journey, obviously the selection has to be great on the platform. That goes without saying. That's a USP of the platforms. And the entire purchase side of it, that has to be taken care of. And finally, also the delivery side of the consumer. So earlier, again, in the online space, if Amazon said, I'll deliver to you tomorrow, that was the biggest delight. Today, it is taken for granted. Thanks or no thanks to Amazon, that is a reality, right? So consumer it is part of the basic expectation of the consumer on it. So if these things are taken care, which we have to take care, the additional features which you have to add to it. If Mansi is ordering any product on Smytten, I have to say, hi Mansi, thanks for coming on Smytten for the first time. Then it brings a smile on the face of the consumer. It cannot be regular delivery now anymore. For every element to offer the experience to the consumer. If I'm offering any new product from, let's say, Bella Vita, I have to educate the consumer that what is it all about? Why should he consume the product? It is not just about reading on the app. It is also about what you read on the hard piece of paper when you get the product in. So all those things count to call somebody as a consumer. Otherwise, he is a one-time purchaser who cannot be called as a consumer. Right? All of us will only survive and grow in this business if people keep buying 3 or 4 or 5 times from us, minimum in a year. Right? So all those things have to be taken care. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is if we can crack all of this, which is not an easy thing to do. I'm sure Atul, Aakash, Mansi, all of us spend max amount of our time to get that piece right, and none of us have got it right 100%. It's that difficult to get it to that space. We all are getting there, but
that's why I referred that to be a monster.
It's a monster. It's a monster. It's just getting bigger with every passing week, I would say, at this moment. Now, once you have got the Smytten experience right, in our case, I also have to ensure the brand experience is right. Otherwise, brands will not partner with us. And the beauty of the whole model is that, again, it's not that the value for money concept has gone out of this country. People might be earning in lakhs and crores, whatever it might be. But before you take out the money, people want to be very conscious about it. And that's where the entire sampling piece helps. And yes, there is an advantage of sustainability and packaging, but the reality is slightly secondary at this moment in the country. It is more about the money saving side. So once a consumer has liked the product, think of it this way. All the brands are today targeting top of the funnel consumer, right? Which I was talking, all of us are spending money to get you on board. But what we tell on Smytten, or what Atul tells through his model as well, that Sanjeeb has looked at the product, he has tried the product, he has liked the product. So entire consideration to intent funnel is a lot more efficient now. So please don't target Sanjeeb. If he has not liked some product, just ignore him. He cannot be, he's not a consumer. Let's only 1 or 2 target him, because there's a higher probability of he converting it. And that's how we are helping brands to reduce their CAC.
Amazing.
And yes, we have to do a lot of things better than what we are doing. There's no second thought on it, but probably there's a journey we all are going through. Sampling as a business never existed before. Today it is a part of the planning of the brands. Every product they are producing, there is a sample getting produced, because brands are realizing that you cannot just depend on social to get the consumer on board. And once the consumer has liked the product, has bought the product, and that all happens through the tech. There's an algorithm which defines whom to retarget. If you're given a positive feedback, if you're not bought on the platform, then only the system will retarget you, because over communication again kills you.
Yeah.
To the consumer. And the last bit of it is the repeat after that. If I know as a key, I've taken this product, and if Mansi has told me this particular product, or Aakash has said this product is good enough for, let's say, 2 months time, I have to retarget to you after 45 days. Again, tech. Nothing is possible without tech. I cannot give you that experience. I cannot be sustainable in this business without tech in place. So that's where we fit in. And I'm saying also on behalf of Atul's model, because both of us are doing a similar thing. To an extent, Atul, I'm saying on your behalf. Right? And this is we believe is going to take the whole business or whole behavior of the consumer in a different way. If today offline is 85% or more, and if it goes down, one thing which is going to enable a lot of brands to grow is the experience, and sampling would be one of the key enablers of it.
Great. And on that note, I think I'll jump on to Atul now. Atul, I've got a quick question that what factors have Mojobox focused on for leveraging tech and building automated operations to bring efficiency at the back end, leveraging data to drive automation in the value chain? Because data is something Mansi was also talking about. I think Sid has also mentioned about, I mean, it's only possible through tech. So if you can please highlight something on that, I'd really appreciate that. Atul.
Sure, Sanjeeb. There are 2 very broad, large facets to our business, and हमारे business के बड़े भाई already Siddhartha काफी कुछ cover कर चुके हैं. So they are so far ahead on the learning curve. I must admit, I'm on his app at least 2 or 3 times a day. I've ordered multiple boxes, and I learn a lot from just watching how and guessing what's behind what they are doing, and whatever I can guess, sometimes that must be right, wrong. I don't know which one was right and which was wrong, but that process is a great learning experience for me because of the fact that they're well ahead on the learning curve. I think there are 2 large facets to the business. One is, and Siddhartha did allude to that there is the consumer side of the business, and then there is the brand side of the business. So on the consumer side of the business, we talked about a lot of the things related to the value chain earlier in terms of inventory management, in terms of order management and things like that. And all of those technologies we've tried to imbibe in our processes to make things a better experience for the consumer. One of the advantages we as a late entrant to the relatively late entrant to the business is the fact that a lot of those things are available, which I'm sure were not available in 2015-16 when Smytten started. For example, a third-party warehouse management and packing management and things like that thing. I'm sure they were sitting somewhere and packing their own boxes in 2015-16. So those are the kind of things. For example, a ShipRocket as a delivery partner, and the kind of thing they're able to do, same day delivery and next day delivery and all that did not exist. So those are slight advantages on the consumer side. On the brand side, which is again something that Siddhartha alluded to, and I think Aakash talked about as well, is the fact that there is a lot of play of the data. So what we're able to do is give a lot of analytics based on not just consumer interaction online, but also consumer behavior post actual usage of product. Typically a D2C brand, and this is slightly different for Aakash because they have a house of brands, but one single brand would be only able to predict one consumer behavior based on their consumers. What Smytten is able to do, and Mojobox is able to do to a smaller extent at the moment, is that because of multiple usage of brands, we're able to predict category behavior and also which categories behave like each other, right? And very often one can be a surrogate for the other. So if you have one beauty category, that can be a surrogate for the hair category, for instance. So there's a lot of usage behavior that you're able to use in analytics over there. And for us, that brand focus is a crucial one, because as a business and as people, as founders, we have a very strong brand DNA, if I can call it that, because we've always run a brand agency, a brand consulting agency. So that, that analytics piece is very important to us. And of course, the entire thing goes further into the third phase of the business, which I would call, which is the whole remarketing and resales piece, which is going to have a massive connect with the offline part of the business. Because as all three of my co-panelists have been talking about, offline is back. If COVID had gone on for another 5 years, and I mean, I don't even want to imagine that scenario in the world, but if COVID had gone on for another 5 years, maybe human behavior would have been changed irreversibly. But the reality is today it's not. Today, people are back in offline, and they may be getting samples from Smytten and Mojo box and then buying it offline, right? A lot of that would be happening. And if that is happening, how do I make the connect of that having happened? So their online and offline plays a humongous role. And that, we used to do sampling, and just to touch upon again what Siddhartha said earlier, I've been doing sampling programs since 1996, which is when we started our brand agency. And sampling used to happen in offline, whether it's modern trade and malls and schools and colleges, and people would take the samples and walk away. Not only do you know whether the sample went to the right person, there's no way you can even ask him that you tried that product. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Will you buy? Will you throw it away? Will you never ever see that brand again? Will you swear off it forever? Today with data, you can do all of those things and more. So the world has changed, needless to say. I don't have to underline that, but that broadly is how we are kind of going about doing what we're doing.
Thanks, Atul. Great explanation to how data can be played to the better use of retargeting customers and stuff. Really appreciate that. And special thanks, Aakash, to you there, because you have been nicely responding to all the amazing questions being put by all our attendees there. So thanks for doing that, Aakash. Quickly jumping Mansi to you, looking at the Indian ethnic wear market in India as well as globally, there's a huge opportunity for new age consumer brands that have been disrupting the retail industry with sustained e-commerce growth. How do you plan to target this tier 2 and tier 3 markets in this country? That would be interesting to hear from you, because I think you focus majorly online, right? So how do you want to target them? Because we all know for a fact that still the bigger cities in India, they dominate the volumes, but I think the major growth is going to come in from tier 2 and tier 3. So do you want to throw some light on that?
I mean, we already have a huge traction from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And I think it's purely because we've been marketing online, and the amount of screen time that people spend every day on Facebook, Instagram, etc. It's obnoxiously high, even in tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities. And that's where you come into play. And other than that, Amazon and Myntra and other marketplaces like these have a very recent coverage in these tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And when we sell our products via these channels, we do get a response in terms of the kind of customers we are getting from there, or the kind of choices they are making, etc. Till tier 2, we are able to market to them directly, and by other channels, on retaining them, etc., and retargeting them. For tier 3, sometimes we do feel a challenge where they are not very tech savvy in some cases, and for that to happen, it will take a little bit more time for the customer evolution to happen a little bit, or maybe when the younger generation is there, because I know it for a fact a lot of tier 3 cities kids have been buying online, and whether they've been not sitting with very deep pockets, etc., but still they are buying. So they are very risk averse to putting in a lot of money. But tier two is a no brainer. I mean, you can it's directly target them and then retarget them. Yes, it happens. They might just come to your office the next time and tell them to show you more products as if it's a shop. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the demand, there is no shortage of that, and it's just that those guys are more used to a physical retail format. But we are not prepared for tier three physical space kind of roadmap right now. But till tier two cities, yes, having a flagship store and having the smart store, as I like to call it, that is something we will actively be looking at. And I think we will till the for tier three will continue to rely on marketplaces and other channels where we can just reach to them. And yes, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think, thank you very much, Mansi, for responding it so well. There are some interesting questions also which have been put. I think Aakash, Atul, they have been already responding to all of those. But one of the questions I would like to pick up is uh, this is posted by Sumit, I think. He says that what are the three red flags? Siddharth, if you can also add some value to it, and maybe Mansi, whoever wants to pick this up. Very, very nice question. Thanks, Sumit, for asking this question to all of us. So the question is, what are the three red flags a relatively new D2C brand should be aware of?
Not new red flags. I would say the red flag they should be aware about is the first one. It cannot just be Me Too stuff anymore. I think we're done with that space altogether.
So
If you launch another,
Aakash has very straightforward said that product quality, delivery speed, and no deep discounting. I mean, these are the three straight points, and I kind of agree with Aakash. Very, very nice and crisp. And
right. The only thing I'll add to what Aakash has said, and I completely agree with what he's stating there, is the customer feedback. I think a lot of times people wait for too long to get the customer feedback. So I know brands who said, let me get 3,000 feedback. But if 300 people have said something about it, just action it immediately. That's the only thing I'll add to what Aakash has already mentioned there, I would say.
Cool. Sure. I think that is good enough. I also kind of agree. And Siddharth, on the topic of CAC, which you have put, I think there have been questions coming there as well. There's a question asked by Isha there. How to ensure that there is a minimal impact on margins offline versus online? That's a question. I think maybe Atul, if you can respond. Aakash has already responded as usual. So thanks, Aakash, for your inputs. Atul, would you like to pick this up, or maybe Siddharth, whoever is comfortable taking that?
I'll take a stab at it, though we don't have any form of an offline kind of presence, but I'll take a stab at it. So I think, Aakash has again mentioned in his answer about parity price across offline and online. I think that's very crucial because consumers don't see any difference. You may have costs attached to offline versus online, one higher, one lower, but that sounds like your problem. So consumer doesn't really care. The second is the experience. You have to be able to take experience and bridge it between offline and online. And it's early days. So, I'm not sure I can iterate for you. What does that mean in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points? But it's going to unfold in the next maybe 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But I think it's going to become very important to be able to have a similar experience. You can't be, online a terrible website or a app, and offline you have a great experience store and all. So I think integration across is crucial. What may also work really, really well is in some product categories that you order online and collect offline. So those kind of opportunities may also start jumping up as we go forward.
Just to add to that, if you're a platform and not a brand like us and Atul's, negotiate harder for offline with brands like of Aakash and Mansi.
On that note, I think Great questions to all this participants. Thank you very much. Due to shortage of time, maybe I'm not able to pick that up, but obviously we will try to respond offline to all of the questions being posted. With that, I think I would like to thank everyone for sharing your valuable insights. I hope everyone enjoyed this session, of course, and got a chance to learn something from our esteemed panel as well. And is going to help in building a robust e-commerce business for all the participants and members here. So with that, I would like to maybe thank Mansi on throwing light on how presence of offline business helps create an experience in technology. Here plays a key role. Consumer in tier 2 and tier 3 towns have great screen time, and online marketing and advertising has also helped, is what you have gauged. I mean, I really appreciate your inputs there. Siddharth, you talking about, as you rightly mentioned, educating the consumer is most important, and technology has enabled companies to predict better about the consumer, which cuts down the purchase journey time and makes the process smoother. I think great input coming from you also there, Siddharth. So thanks to you there. Aakash, you also mentioned how tech helps brands align the other brands, and these associations or integrations have helped smaller brands build their confidence in the eyes of the consumer. I mean, really appreciate that. You also mentioned, Aakash, that you should have the right team in place, and that actually solves for most of the problems with the right kind of technology. My own opinion, Aakash, here is a lot of people feel that technology Lelia and we are done. But I feel technology can only enable and works well when we have a right set of team with the right mindset. I think that's very, very important. And
you could, it's same, no? You could always buy a Ferrari, but only a few know how to drive it.
Well said. Well said. If you have a fantastic car and you give the keys to a person to drive and he knows it how to drive it, still he will be confused and worried. So obviously you do not need such kind of people. You need people those who can gung-ho about any opportunity comes their way. So I think you highlighting on the team is really, really appreciated. Right? And interesting to know, I mean, from Atul, you as well, as a play of data has taken most of the importance, right? And a lot of analysts, especially about e-commerce behavior, especially about consumer behavior as per category of products, has helped understanding the customers post-purchase behavior. I mean, that's what Atul you have mentioned, and I think that's also great inputs coming from you as well. So thanks to you, Atul, there as well. Yeah. So on that, I think I'll put my last words here, that while e-commerce has opened multiple channels for consumer brands to cater to a much wider audience across geographies, the rising complexity of operations and processes as a result of the growing order volumes is no less than a tough challenge for retailers, D2C brands, and omni-channel brands, right? So a brand have also realized this importance of smooth and automated supply chain, which directly impacts the consumer experiences, is what I feel, and helps streamline the process, like initially mentioned by Atul, Siddharth, all of you actually, on multi-vendor management, inventory management, warehouse management, to mention a few, right? We hope this session was been helpful to all of you, addressed a few of the questions very nicely. And with that, I think I would like to thank all the panel members and attendees to join this session. So thanks to everyone there.
Great. Thanks, Sanjeeb. Pleasure.
Thank you, Sanjeeb. Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Had a good time.
Catch
See
you
you
guys later.
guys.
Atul, Aakash, Mansi. Bye.
Catch up soon.
Bye.
Bye.